Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Backstage Mimbo TV. My name is Allison Rouse, your most notorious groupie, and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie, me. So, today on Cocktails and Rocktails, I'm going to do a video that I have been promising to do about groupie rivalries. Here it is, folks. It's about to get ugly. So, today's cocktail description is down below. It's called none other than the groupie. Yeah. So, grab your groupies, kick up your feet, and let's have a little talk, shall we? Sorry, let me get adjusted here. All comfy-fied. Alright. So, now this talk is going to be based on a few things. For starters, let me preface this. Not every woman claiming to be a groupie is a groupie. I've seen some vlogs. Not a groupie. Oh, I met Kiss. No, you didn't. You met Kiss's road crew. I've seen girls. I'm on the Who's tour bus. Sweetie, the Who hasn't had a tour bus since 1969, probably. I don't know. I wasn't groupieing back then. But I'm pretty sure the groupies from the 70s can tell you the Who didn't have a tour bus. You were on the Who's roadies bus. And that's fine. That's okay. Then you have women like this. There's a little controversy going on right now with someone who is an old lover of mine that is in the book, with Dave Ellison, or as I know him as, is Junior. So, there's a woman who, not once, not twice, 3, but 4 times recorded sexual acts that she instigated, that she went to that hotel looking for him, to befriend him, and then use him. And I have talked to this woman, and Junior, this message is for you. Pull your head out. She did this on purpose. Quit protecting her, because you're only protecting the person who stabbed you in the back and is destroying your life at the moment. This woman, like I said, I've talked to her on a couple of occasions. She said her only excuse was, in a moment of weakness, I shared it with my friends. No, honey, when you record once, twice, 3, 4 times, you did this on purpose. And you are ashamed to the name groupies. You pseudo groupies, you star fuckers as we call you, you are ashamed of the groupies, to the name groupie. Because there are different types of women backstage, like I said. There are starfuckers, which is the lowest of the low, the bottom of the barrel. You don't want to scrape them off with your friend's dick. These are the girls that rappers, ooh, that is good, that rappers make sign non-disclosures. Not a bad thing these days with women like this Daphne or whatever her name is, that totally screwed up Junior's life, because these women, today is a very gratified, self-serving world because of the internet. Now, I come from an era, just like, groupies before me, we didn't have the internet. We weren't out there with our cameras. We weren't out there trying to brag to our friends. We were fighting a stigma that we were showing was not as degrading as people thought it was. And groupies before me, groupies during my time, we've all fought. We've all talked about this. And we all fight every day to be seen as the empowered feminists that we really are. Even groupies I don't like from the 70s, I give them 100% credit for owning their femininity and for living this life, but living it knowing that these are our friends, our lovers, these are human beings, and any consequence of our actions could destroy their lives or our lives or anything else. So when you have women coming along ever since the internet age, because the last great groupie years were the 80s. That was it. After that, there were no phenomenal great groupie scenes. Once in a blue moon, you'd run across a groupie, really awesome groupie, like Andrea or Jade from Brazil. My friend Nicole from Nashville. Few and far between. And even out on the road during my time and during the 60s and 70s, real family friend groupie lovers, road wives, were few and far between. But now they're almost non-existent. So let me preface, all what I'm going to talk about with the groupie rivalry, the different types of groupie, with this, because we have come to a time where I feel sorry for rock stars because they don't get the same experience that the older rock stars got, the newer rock stars don't. They don't get the same, like I said, rappers are having, and pop stars and some rock stars are having women they sleep with sign non-disclosures. That's disgusting. And Junior, you're so stupid for trusting this woman because, number one, the second she pressed record the first time, that was it. She betrayed you. The second, because it was without your knowledge. If she would have said, hey, let's film this, then that's cool. Because it's between two consenting adults. Because despite the fact that the actions were between, the sexual actions were between two consenting adults, the recording was not between two consenting adults. And that's where you fucked up, sweetie. Because you're the one who recorded it 4 times and sent pictures that he sent you. I'm not going to defend Junior because I think he's a dumbass. Junior, come on now. It's not the 80s anymore. And apparently, I've been contacted by someone else and it's not the only woman. So Daphne, pull your head out, little girl. Because you will forever be known as the destructor, as the whore. Trust me, I've been through all this, honey. I know. So, alright, with that said, and I'm sorry to have to preface all of this with that, because I just really truly feel that the groupie term has been twisted into, though, by that type of girl, by all these people being pseudo groupies or starfuckers. It's just the whole groupie image, the whole groupie scene, the whole part and necessity of groupie to rock and roll has been completely just destroyed by women like that. And before anybody says anything, I wrote a book. When I started, it was released 12 years, and started 4 years after the whole situation I was in. And I had permission from everybody, just about everybody that's in that book that I'm still in contact with. I had permission. So I wasn't trying to get a leg up. I woke up to scandal and infamy, and I had to do the best I could with it and tell my story instead of letting the lies be told. So, alright, with that said, let's talk about groupie rivalry, because those little starfuckers think they're competing with groupies. No, darling, you're not. You're not at all, because no groupie would allow any rock star to get into this situation, and a true groupie would do what I did. Just keep your mouth shut. Don't share shit with your friends. No. When you know shit's about to go down, you protect that rock star. You don't get a leg up for yourself and be associated by fame. And, another thing I do get a lot of flack for in the book is because people think I'm such a bitch to the other groupies on the scene, or that might have been in my clique, and I'm not. Let me explain to you. I write my book in real time. So what I was feeling when I was a teenager girl, into my 20s, that was what I was feeling at the time. It doesn't reflect how I feel now, or what's going on in my life now, or the woman that I am now. Yeah, that's all part of me, and do I regret? No. Because when I came onto the Salt Lake City scene, you know, the 80s was like the real height for groupies. The 70s, 60s, they got us starties, but the 80s, us women in the 80s took it, we owned it. It was going to be our show, our party, our dictation. We were not going to be welcome mats or side stories to the rock stars. The rock stars were going to be ours, our story, how we wanted it. So I always say about the groupies in the 80s, yeah, that was the ultimate culmination of the groupie lifestyle. And after the 80s, the groupies died out because the so-called grungers didn't like groupies, but we all know that's not true because, as I always say, really Eddie Vedder? Anyway, so when I came onto the scene in the 80s, there was a big groupie rivalry. The girls had their nice cushy spot on the scene that were there before us, and when we didn't come on the scene thinking we need to knock these girls out, we weren't playing chess or any sort of game, as much as I joke around about calling it the band game. We really weren't playing a game. We didn't know these girls. We didn't know that they were on the scene, but they saw us coming, and they would get territorial and defensive. And this is where groupie rivalry comes in. It's not just happening on the 1980s rock scene. It was happening in the 70s when Les Pars was calling, you know, Lori Maddox and Sable Starr the baby groupies. She was condescending them. She was intimidated by them. She was pissed because guess what? Lori Maddox, she didn't necessarily swipe Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page left Pamela DeBarge to swipe Lori Maddox. Let's get that straight. And that was kind of the same thing that was happening with us on our groupie scene. We did not go in there intentionally trying to get these guys. Yeah, we all had guys that we wanted to hook up with or to be with or get to know or spend more time with, but we didn't know that they had other lovers in our city or somewhere else. So any type of rivalry coming from our end was not rivalry. It was just, oh, whoops, sorry. And well, it was his choice to hang out with me and not you. So don't be pissed at me, be pissed at him. I didn't know. You know, and so they would start talking shit about me and Kristen and Danny and Davany. And we never actually played up to that. But yeah, of course, when you've got a roadie or another musician coming on the bus being like, yeah, those girls are talking such shit about you for the upteenth time. Yeah, you give it 2 seconds of attention and be like, oh, that's why they're still standing on the sidewalk. Because ladies, if you're going to play the band game, you want to be a groupie, don't get all Anna Nicole Smith or Kardashian about it. No sex tapes, ladies. And if you do, make sure you know the rocker for about 4 years like I did Steve Jones, okay? And leave it in his possession. He's got it, not me. First of all, that's how you play the groupie game. If you want to be a groupie, like, play it Sophia Loren style or Jackie O style. Don't play it Anna Nicole and Kardashian bullshit. Because they thrive. That energy is not what a groupie is about. That energy is self-serving, greedy, bastard energy. A groupie that, no, we're about the family and being a part of the music and understanding our vitality in that scene and our love, not just for the music, but for the crazy, wild circus that is rock and roll out on the road, and wanting to be in the culmination of all that. And that's really what a groupie and a road wife is. It's someone that they can trust with their well-being, with their privacy, with their body. Just like us groupies have to trust the rock stars with our well-being, our safety, our bodies, our health, everything. That's what it's about. It's about the family. It's about the trust. It's about, and when groupie rivalries come in, the women who are being the catty Kardashians are the ones that are going to get left out on the sidewalk waiting for the roadies bus. And that's why groupie rivalries, you know, when I talk about it in my book and I talk about groupie rivalries, I'm real about what I was feeling in the moment. In the moment when I was 18, 19 years old, fuck yeah, I got an attitude. I'm going to give you a finger. I'm going to tell you too bad, so sad, sister. Looks like you upgraded. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. You should have seen a couple of the girls that the guys that were... But then, you know, then you had the new bands like Metallica and Megadeth who were new onto the scene. Testament, you know, the hottest guitar player in Dio, the hot new guitar player for Dio, or, you know, bands like that, or Bon Jovi, and they didn't have girls here. So there was a huge competition to be the chick that they hung out with. And of course, you know, like I said, we got there early. Me and my friends, we didn't wait until 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. We didn't have jobs. We didn't care what we had to do. If we had jobs, we called in sick, obviously, by the Striper vlog. So that band was our #1 priority. So we got there. Like I said, the Def Leppard video, Kristen was at my school 8 or 9 in the morning. Or that was Motley Crue. And Motley Crue, Def Leppard and Motley Crue. I was at her school for Motley Crue at 9 o'clock in the morning. We were down at the buses. So we knew that if we wanted to get to the band first, and just even getting to the band first didn't guarantee us to hang out with the guys. Because it was about our personalities. It was about the fun we gave them. It was about the freedom they could have to be with us, the trust and the camaraderie that we gave to what I call my big gypsy family, because this is my second family, these guys that I've made these memories with. So there was always this competition, and you know, girls are going to be bitches that are bitches, and girls who are not, and me and my friends, we were not, but we didn't let them bully us or give us shit. We'd be like, yeah, whatever. Say a couple harsh things, which I've said in my book, and I'm not ashamed of it. Because like I said, I'm writing in real time. There was groupie rivalries going on. There was I think her name is Lisa, I think, or it might be Susan. She was on some Bark at the Moon poster with Ozzy about a year or so before me and my friends hit the scene. And we were hanging out with King Cobra, which was another Carmine Appice band. Or was it Vinny? No, it was Carmine. But anyway, Vinny Appice and Carmine Appice, brothers. But anyway, you know, and this Lisa Susan girl was trying to tell the guys, like I said, they would try and lie about our ages, or they would talk shit or be like, oh, she's got this disease or that disease, or oh, she's, you know, they would try and talk shit about us because they would think that it would deter the guys to them and be like, ooh, scary. No, like I said, if you're going to be playing the band game, be Jackie O and Sophia Loren. Let actions, let feelings, let the night speak for itself. Let the rocker decide who you are and show them who you truly are. And don't be those catty bitches. Okay? So, and that's, you know, if people want to give me crap about groupie rivalry, like I said, my scene was not the only scene with groupie rivalry. I'm just the one who's chastised and crucified for it, because Les Pars before me in her books is degrading to the other groupies that came and were replacing her in the GTLs. You needed replacing, trust me. Those girls were way more exciting. So anyway, she was very rude to them in the books, but this is another aspect of a handful of groupie rivalry, because there's thousands of groupies and only a few that have written books. So when somebody needed to write a third book but didn't have any more stories to tell, or they've just been rehashed and nobody wants to hear them anymore, what did she do? She gathered up a handful of her worshipers and befriended someone she had stabbed in the back many times, that she tried to cock block herself. Because there's a very famous picture of Pamela in a white dress standing there looking at Jimmy Page, and Lori Maddox in the corner going, what the fuck? Because you know that's what she was saying. She's like, what the fuck is this bitch doing here? He ditched you. Quit trying to cock block me. So again, I am not the only one who has had to deal with this groupie rivalry. I'm just the one who makes no bones about it and doesn't dress it up with rose-colored glasses and cotton candy coming out my ass. I'm not Almost Famous, and that movie was for Hollywood. Don't believe the lies you hear about that movie, because, again, this is another type of groupie, what I call the pseudo groupie, that went and saw the movie Almost Famous, got a fur coat, and devoted themselves to the band. Like I said, the word groupie has become so watered down because so many people have owned it, and for so many reasons that aren't groupie reasons. And what it comes down to, if you're really a groupie, no one knew about me for 17 years, did they? I own my life, but I didn't exploit it. So there you go. And like I said, there is a handful of groupie rivalry, and I'm even kind of demonstrating it right now, right as far as groupie books go, because we all know we've lived bigger stories than the first groupie book that came out compared to the few years. There's women I know that have been like me, that have been in the scene for over 3 decades, not 3 years, 3 months. We were never left in a parking lot for someone we degraded and then used later. You know, so there's still this groupie rivalry, but most of us, the women like Diana, she told me about her friend Devin, or a couple other girls that are coming out with books. I'm excited. We can compare stories. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to hear these other girls' books. So in my sector of the metal years, because even as groupies, like when I would be on the road with the band, if there is a groupie in another town, oh, yay, I'm embracing her. I've probably been on the road with a bunch of guys for a few days, a week, 2 weeks, and there hasn't been another woman that I've come in contact. So I need girl time. Go stay at the hotel. Me and Chick are going out and having a girls' night. You know, my era of groupies was very different. We knew there was competition. We knew there were other women, but we kind of, no, okay, so he's with someone else, fuck. No, I'll go fuck the bass player instead. You know, we were a little bit different. My generation is a bit more supportive. We don't use each other because we know we all have our own voices to be heard and stories to be told, and we can compare some notes. It's going to be fun. Like I said, so groupie rivalry does exist. It didn't just exist in the 60s and the 80s. It also existed in the 60s and 70s. It was just painted over with rainbows and kittens. And so don't give me crap about it. Even now, what these little starfuckers, because they are not groupies, they are trying to rival each other by who can get the biggest dirt off someone, because that's what the Kardashians set out for this generation. And it's tacky. Like I said, be Jackie or Sophia Loren. Have some tact and grace. Realize that there's consequences for your actions, and they may not just be yours. And that's your responsibility as a groupie. You've got to take care of your road family. They take care of you. Why would you do something like that to Junior, who is never anything but good to you? I'm not going to defend Junior. I'm just going to defend the fact that he didn't deserve some little starfucker to ruin his life. And that's the pathetic way these little girls who, I'm a groupie. No, you're not, honey. You are a pathetic little hanger-on going to destroy people's life. And even now, that is what the groupie rivalry has become, and it's so sad. Because at least in my time, we were just competing to fuck. Everybody was going to be happy, somehow, some way. Oh, ladies, you know that's my signature move. Get down there, bitches. So, there you go. There's some groupie rivalry, a little bit about the difference between actual groupies and road wives and starfuckers. You know, because groupies really, like I said, very few and far between these days. And some of us that are the few and far between, that are the Sasquatch in the forest, so to speak. That was kind of a bad analogy, but you get my drift. Those of us who are that would never do what these girls are doing these days. It's so sad. And if that's the rivalry they need, you have it. You will weed yourselves right out of rock and roll, and you need to. So, alright. Hope you enjoyed my little rant and rave on different groupies and different rivalries, because they exist. I just own up to it. I don't hide behind editing and other bullshit. Okay? So, like I always say, guys, if you want my book, any of the versions, because like I've said, I have 2 different paperback versions. I have a color and a black and white version, both the same, just how you want it and how much you want to pay for it. All the links to my book are down in the description. The link to my Patreon, which there's probably not going to be a Patreon to this. Maybe, maybe not, but there are to the other rock stars and stuff really getting into the description of their prowess. So that's also down in the link. So go to my Patreon. I've got the link for the cocktail of the day down in the description. And also my t-shirt line. I forget about that sometimes, that I have a t-shirt line out for a while now. I just suck at promoting things. So it's down at Threadless. Go into the description. I have some really funny t-shirts of rock stars and things that they said on the road, but I also have Backstage Bimbo merch. And it's not just t-shirts, it's all kinds of merch. So hit the links, guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the likes, and hit my bells. And we'll see you next week with some more cocktails and rocktails. Thanks, guys.